You're listening to Reading Glasses, a show about book culture and literary life designed to help you read better. I'm author and book devourer Mallory O'Mara.
And I'm Brea Grant, filmmaker and e-reader. This episode, after so much bookmark talk, y'all love to talk about the bookmarks. We're actually figuring out ideal bookmark thickness. Wow. In case you were concerned, you were like, this show's gotten too cool for me. We have figured out how to make it a lot less cool.
But first, Brea, what are you reading?
I am reading a poetry book that you and I, this is going to fulfill my reading glasses challenge.
Nice.
And it's one you and I both talked about reading, and it's called The Crown Ain't Worth Much by Hanifa Dirakeeb. Are you also reading this?
Yes,
No.
but I wasn't going to talk about it on the show, but I'm also reading it.
Wow. First time in Reading Glasses history that we're actually reading the same book at the same time.
That's so funny.
Really wild.
It is weird. We've been doing the show for like 4 years, and we read a lot of the same books, but we've never done one at the same time.
That's true. Wow, that is so weird. Okay, so I mean, you can speak to it as well, but it is so Hanifa Dirakeeb is kind of a cultural critic. He actually has a great podcast too. I just started listening to.
I didn't know that.
Yeah,
I love him.
Yeah, a music interview podcast where he kind of also talks and so. Yeah, it's good. It's really interesting. But this book of poetry it definitely infuses his pop culture, his love of pop culture and love of music, which I love because there's all these poems kind of titled things that will definitely bring you back to like some certain times. But it also is a lot about race, and it's a lot about family. It's just like a really great read. If you're looking for a poetry book, I would definitely highly recommend it. I'm finding it really great. I've been reading a couple, a poem or two I say the word poem so weird.
It's fine. You're
Okay.
from Texas.
I know. How do you say it?
Poem.
Poem, like one syllable?
Yeah.
Poem.
But I'm from Boston. It's tough because you're from Texas and I'm
Poem.
from Boston, so we're probably never pronouncing anything correctly.
That's so true. But it is really it's really touching. It's hard to read sometimes. There's a lot of emotion in it. It's not one you can sit down and like read all at once, I don't think. But it says a lot of things that I think are really interesting and super relevant right now and forever. So yeah, if you're looking for a poetry book to pick up, I think this is definitely a great one. What are you reading, Mallory?
Oh, I do want to just co-sign everything you said. I'm loving this book. I'm so excited that I didn't even know he had a poetry collection out. And both of us, if for Reading Glasses listeners, we love this author. He has a new book coming out too. I can't remember the name of it, but it's about Black performance. And I'm really excited to read it. But this book, poetry collection, is absolutely wonderful.
I think it's called The Little Devil in America.
Yes. Mm-hmm. So we're gonna have to read that one next. But I am reading a book that was the pick for Sword and Laser this month.
Oh.
I was really excited. Friend of the show, Alex Brown, who is a reviewer at Tor and a librarian. They are co-hosting Sword and Laser this month, and their pick is this YA fantasy book called Alazzo by Darcy Little Badger. And as soon as I found out Alex was going to be co-hosting the show, and they were picking this book, I immediately bought it. Just didn't even know anything about it. Just knew they are my most trusted book reviewer besides you. So I just bought it, and I am not disappointed at all. I bought it, the hardcover of it, and it is one of the most beautiful books I've ever seen. I posted about this on Twitter. It's just like, the book itself is really gorgeous, and it has these illustrations by, what is her name? Yeah, it's Ravina Kai. It has illustrations from Ravina Kai, and they are so, so beautiful. Brea, this is actually a book I think you would really like. It's about this woman, or this girl. She's a teenager, and she lives in this, it's sort of like an alternate America that's very much shaped with indigenous magic and ancestral magic of immigrants, and she in particular, she can raise the spirits of dead animals. So her dog has technically been dead for years and years, but after he died, she like raised his spirit, and like the book opens up with her like playing catch with her ghost dog.
Nice.
And because of her ghost dog's powers, she finds out about this person in her family who's been killed and uses her ghost animal powers to try to solve his murder.
Oh, I love it.
And it's so good. And it's amazing because it's a book that the dog dies, but it doesn't matter.
Does the dog die? Yes, but not a big deal.
Not a big deal. It's the first book in history where it's not a big deal if a dog dies. And I am really, really enjoying it so far. If you have read it or want to read it, I highly recommend listening to the Sword and Laser episodes where Tom and Alex talk about the book because it's awesome. And I'm really just super enjoying it. So that's Alatso by Darcy Little Badger.
And mine is The Crown Ain't Worth Much by Hanif Adiraki.
So we want to take a moment to share some listener feedback. Morgan wrote in about the listener who had the dilemma of like, oh my gosh, I always buy books from used bookstores, so I check them out from the library and then immediately return them 3 days later. So Morgan says, as a library employee, I wanted to respond to a topic you discussed recently. About the idea of checking out ebooks through Libby to support the author, even that's not where you read the book. I love that the reader who submitted this query is passionate about supporting authors in libraries, and their heart is totally in the right place. However, checking out an ebook without reading it may actually be detrimental to the library. Unlike how we purchase physical books, libraries essentially subscribe to ebooks, and that subscription expires after either a certain number of checkouts or a set amount of time. So unfortunately, checking out an ebook without reading it may be taking away a checkout from another reader. The good news is that this does not apply to physical books. The library owns that forever. We love to see a book well circulated and travel to as many people as possible, even if you never read that copy. But if you're an ebook user, then please continue to use Libby. That's exactly why it's there. But please maybe consider only checking out an ebook if that's how you intend to read it. I also love and want to reiterate what Mallory suggested. The best way to support authors, libraries, and fellow readers is to publicly review the book. A good word goes a long way and helps out everyone involved. Happy to have a librarian check in about this.
Yeah, and I think Mallory's totally right. Although I think what the person who wrote in was trying to say is that like they were aware that the library would have to maybe republish that ebook, and that was kind of the point. Like they knew that was the point. They were trying to get the library to maybe like
buy another copy,
have to like which we've talked about how this works on the show, but yeah, they would have to subscribe again or whatever, and they were hoping that would actually send more money to the author.
Yes. So I guess it comes down. Maybe maybe do this from a rich library who has the money to keep buying ebook subscriptions over and over again.
Maybe an oxymoron. There may not be such a thing, but yes.
I think maybe like the New York Public Library probably has more money than most libraries do. But
those
who knows?
Real estate taxes. Those real estate taxes have to be an arm and leg.
We should have Brazos come on the show and explain like a library's budget to us. That would be very interesting to me.
Yeah. Hallie wrote in with the wheelhouse, haunted houses, bonus if they are also old and gothic. And it's Mallory too.
Yes.
Small groups of people facing mysterious, unexplained monsters. That might be me. Sci-fi, fantasy, horror books featuring LGBTQ plus characters without that being a major point of conflict. Nonfiction books about disease origins, monsters in the woods, scientists wandering in the rainforests.
I love all of these.
That's so
amazing.
Specific. Is there more than one book about scientists wandering the rainforest?
Yes, actually. You know what's funny? In our bonus recommendation episode for this month, I talk about a book with scientists wandering around in the rainforest.
Amazing.
So if you're a Maximum Fun subscriber and you support the show, you can check out our bonus Rex episode this month and listen to it.
And nature and wildlife books.
Quick bookmark from us. We're very excited to announce the next Page to Screen book club pick. We are going to be reading and watching To All the Boys I've Loved Before by Jenny Han. It is a YA book, and it is on the film is on Netflix. I have not read it or watched it, so I'm super excited.
Me neither.
I got the idea to read and do this book like 10 o'clock at night the other night when I was, because I've been reading a ton of YA, and I saw this one. I was like, oh my gosh, I've never read this. Oh, we should do it for the Page to Screen book club. And I texted Brie. I was like, I want to do this one. So we're really excited about this. this Page to Screen Book Club was a Maximum Fun Drive reward from last year, but this one's going to be open to everybody to participate. All you have to do is read the book, To All the Boys I've Loved Before, and watch the movie, and then participate in the Instagram Live event that we're going to be doing on May 8th, Saturday, May 8th. We haven't picked a time yet, but it's Saturday, May 8th. Read the book, watch the movie, come talk about it live on Instagram with me and Bria. We're really excited about it. This one's going to be fun. This is definitely the funnest pick. The last one was kind of Christmas Carol was very, very fun, but this is a little bit more lighthearted, less death in this one, hopefully. But we're really excited. So you can email us at readingglassespodcast@gmail.com. If you want a list of all the books we talk about on the show delivered to your inbox every month, you can sign up for our newsletter. There's a link in the show notes. Before we talk about the ideal bookmark, we're going to take a quick break. Reading Glasses is sponsored in part by one of our favorite apps, Libby. But Bria, what's Libby?
What is Libby? Libby is a free reading app created by Overdrive that lets you borrow ebooks and audiobooks from your library on your phone, tablets, Kindle, or computers. All you need is a valid library card from your library. Mallory and I use this thing all the time.
I literally use Libby every single day of my life.
Yeah.
Libby is like my my desert island app, because it would still work on a desert island because you could take it on the go, and even if you don't have a library card, you can read samples of any book you want. Libby works just like your physical library. You can simply borrow available books that you want to read, and they return themselves automatically after your loan expires. So yeah, if you were on a desert island, this would be one of the apps that you need. Like, in addition to maybe an app that taught you how to fish or make fires or something.
No, you don't even need that app, because you could check books out from the library that teach you how to do that.
You're right. See, folks, you all need to download Libby. It's free, and it's the most important thing you could take to a desert island. Incredible.
It is great. We do use it every single day, and it has such a great layout, and it's so cute. It's such an enjoyable app to use. I can't say enough wonderful things about Libby. We love it on the show. Y'all have heard us talk about it. We're so happy that they're sponsoring us.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. I mean, one of my favorite things to do is every Tuesday when new books come out, because I listen to almost all my audiobooks through Libby, and I check out all the new nonfiction. There's such a Libby's layout is so easy to use, and it's so great to browse if you're looking for a particular type of book, whether that's what I look for, which is new releases in the audiobook nonfiction section, or translated books, fantasy books. It's just the browsability is so incredible, and it's, again, I mean, I use it every single day of my life. Yeah. So right now, you can download Libby in the Apple App Store or Google Play Store to start borrowing and sampling ebooks and audiobooks today.
Libby.
Glasses.
Hey, it's John Moe. And look, these are challenging times for our mental and emotional health. I get it. That's why I'm so excited for my new podcast, Depresh Mode. We're tackling depression, anxiety, trauma, stress, the kinds of things that are just super common but don't get talked about nearly enough. Conversations that are illuminating, honest, and sometimes pretty funny, with folks like Kelsey Dara, Open Mike Eagle, and Patton Oswalt.
Humphrey Bogart was never in therapy. And then my dad said, yeah, but he smoked a carton of cigarettes a day, so he was in therapy.
Plus psychiatrists, psychologists, and all kinds of folks. On Depresh Mode, we're working together, learning, helping each other out. We're a team. Join our team. Depresh Mode from Maximum Fun, wherever you get your podcasts.
This week, this might be the weirdest episode we've ever done. This might be weirder than the snacks episode, I think.
It's definitely up there.
We are getting into the weeds with one of the most popular topics on the show, bookmarks. So after we did our last episode on bookmarks, we got so much fan mail suggesting different types of bookmarks that we decided to test some of them out. We are looking for the Goldilocks of bookmarks, folks. The one that is just right. Bria, I think a lot of what makes a bookmark ideal is actually two things that aren't the bookmark.
Yeah.
It's what type of book you're putting it in and whether or not you're traveling with it.
Wow.
So do you ever, I know you read a lot of trades and graphic novels. Do you ever like travel with them, bring them with you? Does that affect the kind of bookmark that you use?
Yes. Yes, I do travel with them. I will say, look, y'all know I'm a person who mostly e-reads, so I don't think a lot about a bookmark until that moment when I need a bookmark, and then I'm like, ah, shit, I need a bookmark. Like this moment where it's like suddenly, when you're like baking and then some weird like ingredient comes up and you're like, what? Like, it's like out of your
Yes.
normal realm. And you're like, I don't have agar flakes in here or whatever the weird shit is that comes up. So this usually is me reading a graphic novel and then I'm to a stopping point and I go, what? What's going on? And
There's no button here.
There's no button. And I am the kind of person who just grabs the nearest item, no matter what it is, and shoves it inside. My books leave a very violent life and just they're living with like whatever pencil is sitting nearby or whatever thing that's entirely too big. And
the knife, which has been my favorite one so far.
breaking the spine. I mean, there's like definitely, but it's usually what happens is it's a slip of It's a slip of paper. I will say we have these, which we can get to in a second, but we have these bookmarks someone sent us, which I've been using for my graphic novels because they are readily available and they're a good amount of thickness. But it is interesting to me that it is basically dictated by the book that you have. Like that it's
Yes.
It's the book dictates the bookmark and the bookmark does not dictate the book. Does that make sense?
I know. Big first revelation from this ridiculous episode. It's all about what you're sticking it into. And so what I realized, I tested out a lot of bookmarks for this episode. I even made Jeremy help me measure with a tape measure the various dimensions of bookmarks. Thank God for my very patient boyfriend. So what I realized was that with the disclaimer that you can really use anything if you're in a pinch. We know we've had people write in that they've used umbrella tags and table legs and all kinds of crazy stuff. I really think thin bookmarks get low marks no matter what you're putting them in and whether or not you're traveling. And it's not actually that they might fall out. It's that the tops of them, the part that sticks out of the book, it's really easily damaged. And while I was writing this episode, I was like, we need to figure out what to call this. What to call the part of a bookmark that sticks out of the top of a book.
Right. It's like the shark fin. It's like the fin.
Yes. Oh, I like shark fin. I was thinking, is it like the iceberg? Is it the stem, the leaf?
Oh, the iceberg.
But the shark fin, I'm really into. So the shark fin of the bookmark, because the thinner it is, like a receipt or like a really thin bookmark, the easier it gets ripped or curled up.
Okay, I guess my question here is that a problem? Like, do you care if your receipt you're using it as a bookmark? I hope you don't need it for your tax purposes. So, like, if you're sticking it in a book, do you care? Is this a problem?
For me, yes. Okay. I don't, one, because like if a little piece gets torn off, then it's going to like be in the bottom of my purse. Sure. Or if it gets like ruined or torn off, like I might not be able to find my place in the book. Like,
okay, fine.
It's just not going to be, it's not going to be functional as a bookmark. Then it will be somewhere in the book, but if it's the part that's sticking out gets ripped off, who knows where it could be.
It becomes a receipt again. A receipt once more returns to its original purpose. What we ultimately found is that there is a spectrum of bookmark thickness. Stick with us here, okay? All right. So here's the things that we have to think about. Stamina, the ability to not fall out of a book. That's where thin bookmarks, they do not do well with the stamina, right?
Yes.
But then also we have durability. That's the ability to not be damaged. And that's where thick bookmarks have that ability. Low durability, that's going to be your receipts, right? And both of them have pros and cons. You have even more categories than stamina and durability. What all you got?
So this might be the nerdiest thing I've ever done in my life.
Okay.
So I tested out a variety of bookmarks from this, ranging from a thick receipt to 1/32 of an inch.
Wow.
Second of an inch. 1/16 of an inch, all the way up to 1/8 of an inch, which was a wooden bookmark sent to us by Lorianne. Thank you, Lorianne. We'll talk about that bookmark in a second. And I put together a list of all the important factors in a bookmark. First, you have rigidity.
Can someone please call the football people from
Thickness.
our high school to beat us up now?
Oh my God. I'm definitely getting a wedgie for this episode for sure. Okay, so rigidity, thickness, stamina, durability, aesthetic, and length. So a Post-it, for example, marks very low in rigidity, low in thickness, low in durability.
So is my
But it
ex-boyfriend.
Oh, shit.
Sorry, stupid joke. I'm sorry. I'm sorry, everybody. I'm so sorry. I'm just trying to really get through this episode.
Oh my God.
Also, I don't feel that way about my ex-boyfriend.
But it has high stamina because of the sticky parts, and maybe high aesthetic if you have cute Post-its.
Oh, uh-huh.
So the wooden bookmark we got, which is 1/8 of an inch thick, marks very high in rigidity, high in thickness, high in durability, but low in stamina because it's so thick that its weight made it fall out very frequently in my tote bag.
Oh, bummer.
But it gets very high marks for cuteness, high marks on aesthetic because it has a carving of the little worm from Labyrinth, and it says, "Hello, I'm just a bookworm."
I don't
very
think that's
adorable.
That's not what it says, Mallory. It says,
That's exactly what it says.
"Hello, I'm just a bookworm." There's no H. There's no hello.
You're right. Very,
Hello,
very
I'm just a
important part.
bookworm.
Oh my God. One of the most iconic movie characters of all time. So and then we got a beautiful set of crocheted bookmarks from Elena that Elena made.
Yeah, thank you, Elena.
So, oh my God, obsessed with them. So they mark high in thickness, but low in rigidity because they're floppy, because they're crocheted. So depending on how thick and heavy your book is, this might not be a problem because the weight of the book keeps it squished. Elena used an ultra thin yarn, not regular yarn. So it's not like it's not as thick as you would think. It's like it's like a little thinner than a doily. It's like doily yarn. And it also gets very high aesthetic points because it's beautiful and has a skull pattern. We love them very much. So also, of course, you don't want a bookmark to be too thick because it's going to damage your book's spine. Like you don't want to put like a 2x4 in there because then it can't be, oh man, you know what I should have done, which would be the next level, is do the ultimate book to bookmark thickness ratio.
Oh my God. Wow.
Folks, maybe we should make that a reward for this year's fund drive.
Yeah, that's actually a really good one. Okay, so just to recap, what we're measuring these bookmarks on: rigidity, that's like whether or not it's going to flop over. Thickness, that is, thickness. Stamina, how long is this bookmark going to stay alive? Is it going to die? Is it going to die on the page? Durability, which is, again, how long we're gonna last. Aesthetic, very, very important, obviously, and length, which is also important depending on your book size.
So we're gonna get into length, but before we finish our ideal bookmark assessment, we are gonna take a quick break to get presumably maybe wedgies from somebody, get swirlies, get stuffed in a locker, whatever. I don't know what bullies do nowadays. Make a mean video of us on TikTok.
I don't know. I watched that movie Unfriended. Is that what they do? Whatever.
Oh no, I haven't seen it. Sorry. We're gonna take a quick break.
Strange planets, curious technology, and a fantastic vision of the distant future. Featuring Martin Starr.
So we're going on day 14. Shuttle still hasn't come.
Aparna Nancherla.
The security system provides you with emotional security. You do the rest.
Echo Kellum.
Can you disconnect me or not?
Hurry Kondabolu.
I'm staying.
From Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, Jeffrey McGivern.
Could you play Cyndi Lauper's Girls Just Want to Have Fun?
It's The Outer Reach. Stories from Beyond.
Now available for free at MaximumFun.org or anywhere you listen.
Okay, so we're back. So there's another.
Oh my God! There's another factor.
There's more factors. Bria, I'm so sorry.
Okay.
It got much more complicated than I thought it was going to.
Yes.
Another factor, if you, like me, have cats that try to steal any bookmark with a tassel, it actually took me days to find the crocheted bookmark that Elena made me because one of my cats, probably Lula, stole it and hid it under the bed.
I feel like that's a plus. I feel like that is a plus because it can serve both as a bookmark and a cat toy.
But no, I'm pretty sure they took it out of the book.
Oh. Yeah, but that I don't know, it kind of like ups the cuteness
Thievery
factor.
potential.
In the factor of aesthetic, it kind of ups the cuteness because it gets the cats involved. You know what I mean?
High human aesthetic is good, but high cat aesthetic is not good.
Okay, wait, let's just do the crocheted ones. Rigidity, do a 0 to 10 on the crocheted ones.
Well, I didn't come up with the point system.
0 to 10. Rigidity, 0.
Rigidity, 0.
Thickness,
5.
stamina,
5 or 6.
Stamina.
Depends on the book. If it was a thick book, 7.
Durability,
7 or 8.
Durability,
7 or 8. Because it can withstand some things. It's not going to rip on you.
Aesthetic, 10, because the cats are involved.
Okay.
And it's cute.
But it's high aesthetic anyways because
good point.
they were very, very cute. And then length is what I'm about to get into. I'm going to get extensively into length.
But give it a score. Let's give it a score.
Depends on, that's another thing. Depends on the book.
Okay, copy. All right.
So I will also final round of factors here.
Okay.
I should have been a bookmark scientist. There are also environmental factors in your bookmark.
Okay.
So, like, how good is your bookmark at being put down next to you? Is it going to blow away? A receipt? High wind vulnerability. Is it sharp? It might get stuck in your blanket and hurt you. Is it small enough to fall down between the cracks in your porch or between the couch cushions?
Yeah. And some of these things matter more, like, let's say if you live in Chicago versus if you live... So the wind, you have wind concerns versus you're just taking it on a plane and, like, there's no wind on that.
I like to imagine that in everybody, like, it doesn't matter even if you're inside your home, like, it's still windy in Chicago.
In my head, that is true, actually.
Like, you're sitting on your couch in Chicago and there's just a strong wind that is flying around your living room and might take your bookmark. So I also tested out a metal bookmark for this, which I really liked. High stamina, high rigidity, durability, aesthetic, and thickness, but not too high. But you do have to be careful because if it gets stuck in your blankets and if you sit on it the right way, it might hurt you.
Sure. Yes.
Potential danger.
Yeah.
So ultimately, what needs to happen with bookmark assessment is the user. So Bria, what do you think? Which factors are most important to you?
I'm like that meme of that lady right now who has the numbers floating around in her head, who's just like trying to figure things out. Okay. All right. I'm going to say of the factors we've talked about, durability is actually high because, again, I'm harsh on things. If you're gonna live with me, if you're gonna be my bookmark, you got to learn how to survive. Said to the Spice Girls. I don't know.
If you want to be my bookmark, you got to get it in my book.
So I think that is really important. I'm going to say durability is the most important because not just stamina, not just staying in the book. It's like living around my house, not, surviving, like being moved from various places every time I clean out a drawer. It's about durability. But I'm actually going to add one more factor to your list, and that is availability. Is it
noticeability?
Is it somewhere I can find it immediately, or is it in some random drawer and I forgot about it? That's low points. Low points based on its location that it has decided to live in.
So availability drops off sharply outside of a 3-foot radius of you.
100%. And like if I'm on a plane, obviously like the ticket, that you have is going to be the best.
Boarding passes are great.
Boarding passes are really a great bookmark and very close by. So that is you can't
Which
leave.
is Bria's most important factor.
I'm going to say availability is my most important factor. What is your most important factor? Or you can name a couple. I feel like you're probably going to have a few.
Oh, yes. I've, as you can imagine, done a lot of thinking about this, and it was one that it truly surprised me. So I do like a bookmark with high marks in just about everything. I think...
Like her life, she's got high standards for bookmarks.
I like the Hermione Granger of bookmarks that gets straight A's. But I think... high marks in almost everything. I think because I bring a book everywhere with me, in my bag, when I'm running errands, in bed, around the house. I like a bookmark that has high durability and stamina. It really has to be able to stay in a book. Because it is flopping around in my tote bag, stuck in my blankets, getting dropped on the floor. Nothing is worse than when you drop a book on the floor and the bookmark falls out of it.
Can we stop for one moment? How often are you... What kind of blankets are you losing these things in? Like, are these like...
the comforters we got.
Because, like, what? I don't know if I've ever lost anything in a blanket. A blanket is, not that large. You can literally just, like, do the thing where you, like, kind of push it out like a parachute. And then whatever's in it will come out.
Well, if you're in bed and there's like, I love a bunch of blankets and I love huge fucking blankets. So like when I'm at bed, like sometimes I'll like to like shove a book under my pillow or like I'll fall asleep with the book like under the blankets with me and then I'll like kick it down in the bed.
Wow. What you're saying is that one day we're going to find Mallory in her apartment and it's going to she's going to be under a blanket and there's going to be like 45 books under there that she forgot about.
Correct.
Okay.
That is absolutely able to happen to me.
Mm-hmm.
One, I will say, love a metal bookmark.
Okay.
My favorite childhood book was a metal owl, and I thought it was perfect.
Okay.
I loved that thing.
Okay.
I also like a laminated bookmark.
Ooh, okay.
Because many of the bookmarks that you have can all their scores can be maybe doubled with the addition of being laminated.
If you have a laminator at home, ready to go. When was the last time you saw a laminating machine?
I was just going to say,
mine was
I don't think I've seen a laminating machine since elementary school.
Yes, exactly. There was one in the library, and I remember they would let us use it sometimes, and I was like, this thing, wow, if I'm an adult ever, I hope I have a laminator at my house. That will mean I've made it.
I know what Bria's getting for Christmas.
Imagine.
Do they sell home laminators? Oh my God, we should put one on our wish list, and then I can laminate things. Game changer.
It really would change. Wow. I just want to let you know, laminators are not that expensive. For those of you who want to live that dream, $25.
Me.
25
Put one on our wish list.
Right,
Somebody
fine.
please buy me this laminator. I'm going to laminate a shitload of stuff and test it out.
$21. All right. It's on there.
Amazing. But I want to say, the thing that I think I'm weirdly the most particular about a bookmark is the length. Do not want a tiny bookmark, but I also don't know why it bothers me so much, but I hate when a bookmark pokes out from both ends. Like if you're reading a mass market paperback and you have a long ass fucking bookmark and it's sticking out of both ends, double shark fin, no thank you. It drives me nuts because I think it doubles the ability for it to get nudged around. Like if it's sticking out of the top and the bottom, if you like put it down somewhere or like stand it up on end, the bottom's going to make it poke out farther on the top. And I don't like that.
I see what you're saying. Yeah, that's not something I've ever thought about.
Welcome to
like
Reading
a lot
Glasses,
of this,
everyone.
Wow.
I hope this is somebody's first episode of the show.
I don't.
So I have to say, I think my ideal bookmark is about 70 to 80% of the length of the book that I'm reading. That is around 1/8 of an inch thick.
Well, this is important because what we're saying here is that the ideal bookmark depends on the book you're reading, which you said at the very top, and I'm just repeating the thesis statement of this episode. But it seems to me that...
Oh, wait, no, not 1/8 of an inch thick. It's 1/32 of an inch.
Got it. But it's just this just means that all of you who feel bad because you've been hoarding bookmarks... We know you're at home hoarding bookmarks, but we're saying that's okay because you do need to pick your bookmark based on your book.
Absolutely. Mm-hmm. Absolutely. I also think we should talk about the ideal amount of fin to be poking out on the top.
And how
Can't
much?
be more than an inch.
Oh, yeah, totally. Too much.
I don't like a gigantic bookmark. I was very surprised to find out this was the most important thing for me. Like, I have some cute bookmarks that I've gotten from bookstores, and they're too fucking long. Too long. I'll never use them.
Unless you're reading some sort of like giant book, like an atlas. If you need to mark your place in a...
Can't wait to shove that in my tote bag and bring it to the fucking park.
Yeah.
I'll need one of those little grocery carts to put it in and then carry it around. Yeah, no.
Can't wait to see you do that.
So, yes, the ideal bookmark is the one that fits your ideal book.
It's just like, it's like dating. There's somebody for everybody,
Yes, there's a bookmark.
I don't know if that's actually
for everybody.
There is a bookmark. I'm not going to say there's somebody for everybody out there. I don't know this world. This world's gotten worse.
But there's
and
a bookmark for every book, and there's a book for you. That's very comforting.
Yeah, that we can guarantee.
Who cares about dating? But the most important thing is there's a bookmark for you out, or there's a book for you out there, and every book has its bookmark.
That's true.
Very comforting thought. I'm very much looking forward to the fan mail we're going to get about this episode.
God. This is never going to end. Never going to end.
It's truly never going to end.
But send it.
Please send us your thoughts about bookmarks. Please, in the show notes, we will include the guide to the rating system. Very interested to see you all assess your own bookmarks based off of this. Yeah, you can send your thoughts to readingglassespodcast@gmail.com. Before we answer a recommendation request, we're going to take a quick break. Now let's answer a recommendation request from Olivia. Olivia says, I've recently gotten into Westerns through TV shows like The Pinkertons and Godless. I have not watched either of those, but they sound interesting.
Yeah.
Do either of you know any Westerns that don't shy away from the diverse society at the time? The 19th century was a period of huge societal change in the U.S., but not many seem to touch on that. Bria, what should Olivia read?
Well, this is a tough one for me because I don't read fucking Westerns. I'm not versed in a traditional Western. I can, of course, recommend some science fiction Westerns. Like, I literally was like, I'm just going to recommend Sarah Gailey's Upright Women Wanted. And I was like, that's a great one. And then at some point I was like, wait, that's not an act. It is a science fictional Western.
It's a Western.
Yeah. It is a Western with a queer romance but it is not, I don't know. It's interesting to think about. I guess it does fall into Western. Have we done an episode on Westerns? We did.
Yeah, but a long time ago. Their book River of Teeth falls under this too.
Yeah, but that one's way more science fiction than Upright Women Wanted. I literally kind of forgot Upright Women Wanted had anything science fiction in it. But it is good, and it has a queer romance, which I really very much enjoyed. And I believe some of the main characters are non-binary. Definitely in River of Teeth, some of the main characters are non-binary. Mm-hmm. But this is a place that I realize I have fallen. I don't read many Westerns. It's just not an interest to me. And I think this is part of it is that I think of them as not diverse. But then I started looking them up and I was like, there are so many Westerns, especially right now, and especially Western romance that are truly diverse. I was looking up so many.
People want to fuck those cowboys.
Who doesn't, man? Who does not?
Too dusty. Too dusty for me.
Too dusty, too gritty. No one's brushing their teeth. But apparently... It's not. That doesn't bother a lot of people because there's so many and a lot of diverse ones. So, this I really I definitely would say if Olivia is interested in something that has like a science fiction element to it, check out Sarah Gailey. But I feel like Mallory, you're gonna have something way better than that. Not that that's a good book. We are the Sarah Gailey.
What's better than Sarah Gailey?
We're the Sarah Gailey recommendation podcast, obviously. But I just feel like there are probably more traditional Westerns that would check this box.
The one that I have is more of a traditional Western structure, just in the way that it doesn't have a lot of genre elements to it. It's How Much of These Hills is Gold by C. Pam Jong. I talked about this on the show when it came out, I think a while ago, sometime last year. The past year, it could be a week ago, it could be a year ago, who could say? It is such an incredible book. So it takes place during the time when the American gold rush was fading out. Like, it was sort of like people were realizing, like, people were getting out west and realizing, like, oh shit, maybe there isn't any gold. Mm-hmm. And it follows these two siblings. They're the orphan children of these Chinese immigrants, and they're trying to survive after the deaths of their parents. Definitely not a feel-good book, but few Westerns are. But it's just like I think the best way to describe it is just like sweeping. Like if you're looking for that sort of like grand Western book, like just a lot of vistas, a lot of big feel, like just like a lot of sweeping stuff, a lot of sweeping emotions. It's beautiful,
but not a lot of sweeping of floors because it is dusty as fuck. Sweeping in many ways,
except where it counts.
Faces, windswept bangs, all sorts of things.
The wind is sweeping everything but the kitchen. But for Olivia, it's definitely going to give you the less white-centric, more realistic version of the American West. Highly, I love this book. Highly recommend it. So as always, we want to thank the wonderful mods who run our Facebook group and Chrissy and Rachel who moderate our Goodreads page. Remember, you can buy Reading Glasses tote bags and shirts and stickers in the Maximum Fun store. There's a link in the show notes. And if you want to help us, to make sure more people in the world can assess their bookmark length correctly, you can rate and review us on iTunes. It's great for us because it helps us reach more listeners and makes us look real fancy to anyone who's checking out the podcast, especially advertisers, which helps us feed our cats so they have the energy to pull bookmarks out of our books. You can email us at readingglassespodcast@gmail.com. Find us on Twitter at ReadingGPodcast, on Instagram at ReadingGlassesPodcast. Thanks for listening, and thanks for reading.